Hey, listeners, can you believe we have been producing the HAYVN Hubcast for over a year? In celebration of this momentous occasion, we are resharing with you a handful of our favorite episodes, guests, and interviews. Have a listen and hope you enjoy them as much as we do.
Welcome to the HAYVN Hubcast, a place to learn what business leaders, owners, and professionals are doing to navigate and grow in today's market. Hear from industry experts on everything from marketing, leadership, financing, and more. Brought to you by HAYVN, a co-working space where you can connect, create, and get stuff done.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of the HAYVN Hubcast. I am Nancy Sheed, your co-host, and I am thrilled to be here speaking with Soledad Matteozzi, making sure I got that right, who is the co-founder and partner of Thinking Beyond Business, where Soledad and her team work with small business owners to help companies be more conscientious, thoughtful, and working with the planet and being more sustainable and thoughtful in the work that they do. So welcome, Soledad. We're so excited to hear from you today.
Thank you, Nancy. You pronounced my last name perfectly. So very good. And it's a tough one. It's not easy. So thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, terrific. So Soledad, I assume and in our chatting, you are a lawyer by training. You have lived in 4 countries on 3 continents. You've had an amazing and fascinating journey. And I'd love to hear from you sort of how your journey, sort of starting with your legal training to where you are now, sort of got you in this place of the business you're running now.
Yes, thank you. Yes, I think this journey of having lived abroad and in such a different cultures and different countries, it was play a very key, important role in why I'm doing what I'm doing right now with my business. I think I will start by saying that I was born in the south of Argentina. It's in an area called Patagonia. So I grew up in contact with nature, outdoors all the time. And that is still this love for nature, for the outdoors is something that is a key part of who I am today. And that has a lot to do with why I'm doing what I'm doing. Kind of I came back to that roots and that passion that I have. Even though I'm from a small town in Patagonia, I was always very curious, very adventurous, and I wanted to live abroad, travel the world. So I became a lawyer and I moved to New York. New York for me was like the center, you saw it in the movies. It's like a place to be successful and grow. And I wanted to and apply to study there. And I came and I became to New York. I studied. I became a New York lawyer, and I worked for around 16 years as a corporate lawyer in New York. I helped companies, international companies all around the world, building strategies in order for them to become more successful. I work with M&A, private equity, to become more profitable, to grow. And it was something that it was fun and it was lucrative as well. It gave me the possibility of doing other things that I wanted to do, but I always had this feeling that something was missing, a lack of fulfillment, something that was not quite right. And that became more evident once I had my kids. I had my first daughter right after I had my son.
Goodness.
1 year apart. And it just didn't make sense for me to work 24/7 as I was kind of required to do and not being able to be with my kids. It was just the structure of that particular company, in that particular industry was not working for me. It didn't make sense. So I started thinking of how can I do more things that I like to do, and how can I be while being able to be with the people that I love. And I took a leave of absence the partner in charge of a New York office at that point. And so they didn't took it very well at the beginning, but I took some time off. And talking about timing, my husband, he was offered an opportunity to work abroad in Europe, in Stockholm, in Sweden. And we have been wanted to live in Europe for a long time. And we said, yes, we went there. And the kids were very young. And as soon as I arrived, I started meeting people, lawyers, the business community. I was fascinated by the way they approach business. The people was more in the center. Then there's a more balance between, life and work. Not even a balance. It was just work was just part of life. And it was expected that you be able to be with your family and do things that you love. It was just a whole idea together. And that was kind of a wake-up call that you can do business good, that you could be successful, and that you can do what you love, and at the same time be with the people that you love. So I started learning more about that type of doing business. I started studying a little bit about sustainability, environmental, social governance. Also, Sweden is very forward-looking in terms of what they're doing for the environment, taking care of our planet, and over there, I started working. I joined an international organization, and I very soon was head of philanthropy of that organization, helping children and women in need in different projects. And I was leading fundraising efforts for them. That was very rewarding, but I felt that I needed to bring my experience, my background, my education as a lawyer towards something that it could have more impact. And we then moved to China in Beijing because they offered me an opportunity to work there, to my husband as well. And we lived in China for almost 3 years.
Wow.
Over there, I was in charge of opening the China desk of a law firm while I continue working with my charity and philanthropy work. Over there, I realized how it's a country that is very polluted, especially Beijing. We had to live with pollution every day. And for me also was kind of a wake-up call that this is happening now. It's not that it's happening in the future. And it's a consequence of a rapid economic growth and not able to do enough things at the right time. And even though, to be fair to the Chinese government, they're trying to fix this, once the damage is done, it's very difficult to undo. So I was very concerned about that, especially for my kids. And I went back to school again. I did a certification on environmental social governance. And when we came back to the US, I know that is what I wanted to focus. The private sector had such an important role to play. All companies, they need to be part of the solution if we want this to be sustainable in the future. And I felt that companies, the larger corporations, kind of whether, they had the resources, they were working on that, they were aware of this, but smaller operations, especially in the community that I was currently living, that was the Fairfield country, didn't know where to start. And maybe they needed a little bit of a roadmap of how to implement this. There's a lot of companies that they want to do good, they're aware of this, and they don't know how to do it. So through HAYVN, I met my business partner, Silvina, that had very similar journey. She's a CPA, and on the finance side, she went through very similar journey, and she wanted the same thing that I want, had the same vision, the same purpose. So we built this company, Thinking Beyond Business, with this purpose of really helping heal this world, making this world a better place by empowering small operations, businesses to do the right thing. And as a consequence, we believe that they will grow, become more resilient in the long term while doing business in a better way. So that's a little bit of it's a long story, but that's how I came up to doing what I'm doing.
I love it, but I think it also, as you said, it informed how you came to your business. It wasn't that you woke up, or that 20 years ago you had a vision for, I will have a company called Thinking Beyond Business that will do this, right? Like, you had to have, I believe, you had to have all those experiences, and and witness what you were seeing in these other countries as well as what was going on. So I love that you found that partner. And I literally want to, you are literally saving the world, Soledad. You are literally saving the world. So thank you for your work.
I think we all can. That's what we tell our clients and also our friends. I think we can all do our part. And if we do, we are all saving the world. So,
well, thank you for setting the pace. Or I actually wanted to ask that question. So, you mentioned a roadmap. So, if a small business owner, as you said, has that desire to do good, it sounds like have a roadmap or have figured out principles. What does that experience look like? Do they have to have certain certifications to come to you? Or how do people work with thinking beyond business to sort of, and what does that get like? Are they at a certain point and they get to a certain point? What does that look like in terms of, doing better? How do you measure it, or how do you help them implement that?
Yeah, so we've been working with different type of clients, and no, you don't need to have any specific certification or anything. It's just the motivation or the intent to do business in a more responsible, in a better way. I think most of the companies that we're working with are very conscious leaders already. They are doing great things, but they don't necessarily think that they're doing sustainable work or conscious work, but they are. And there are businesses that they do care about what's going on. They're concerned about climate change. They're concerned about the materials. They're concerned about social inequalities. They're concerned maybe about their employees, how to keep them engaged, how to keep them more fulfilled. And they reach out to us to help them incorporate this. So the way we work is we like to start by asking them if they know why they're doing what they're doing, that this is kind of their purpose of their business beyond just making money, because we're used to think, of businesses or our organizations that we're doing this because we want to be profitable, we want to make money, and that is the reason for our business. But we believe that every business was created to fulfill a need in the market, to solve a particular problem. And we help them kind of define or articulate this why, that is their business purpose. And once this is clear, then that becomes kind of a North Star where all the strategies then can fall. We believe that if you want to build a sustainability strategy, starting by reflecting a little bit on that makes everything much, much more easier and more clear. And after we work on that, we do kind of an assessment of the company, where they are in terms of their industry, their particular business, because it's different for every industry and it's different for every business, the size of the business, where you're located, what are you doing, what type of employees do you have, what type of work do you do, what is the impact that you generate with your products, with your services. So we do a little bit of assessment of how they're doing within their industry in terms of best practices of sustainability, in terms of, the environmental best practices or the social best practices out there. And we come up with we do kind of a materiality assessment and prioritization. We identified a lot of opportunities. Look, here you're doing this already. This is great. We can build on that. This is a risk. If we continue doing this in the long term, this could happen. So we identified opportunities, we identified risks, we identified quick wins, things that you can do right away with little resources and that can have a big impact in the short and the long term. So we start with those. And then we commit to others that might take, longer time, longer commitment, but that are great for the company in terms of either environmental or social aspect of it. And we make an action plan saying, okay, we're going to focus on this. And then we're going to do this. We assign who is going to be responsible for these deadlines. And we work on a little bit of a strategy on how to implement it. Then we work on how we're going to measure this. Are we going to have a little Excel? If it's something that is a company that is very small, we're going to do maybe another measuring tools that are a little bit more sophisticated for larger companies, because measuring is essential. Trying to develop these KPIs on how to measure how you started and at the end of it, or in the middle, at the end, how you're doing. And in order for you also to communicate this and to report it at the end, to communicate it to your employees, to keep them engaged, to your audience, to expand your audience that you're doing this as well. And companies are in different parts of this journey. Some companies have a very strong, defined purpose. They are built on purpose. Maybe they already have a set of priorities and they need maybe just some help on measuring. Maybe they need help communicating this. And some others, we start from zero. So it depends. We meet them where they are.
I love that. And Soledad, are there industries? I mean, you mentioned you have various clients at various stages. Are there industries that you're more predisposed to work with, or who you're seeing are more popular with right now? Or can this be anybody from, a really small business of very few employees to a true corporation? Is there a sweet spot for you in terms of who you work with?
Right now, we're helping different sizes and different industries. Our sweet spot will say it will be companies that have between, 5 to 50 employees. It's like kind of the medium-sized companies that have already a group of employees that are working. And it's like the what we feel that we can generate the most impact with our background, with our experience, and we can bring more value. But we're working pro bono as well, helping NGOs, and we're helping startups. And even we work with the academic work. We're working with a math program as well that is based all in paper, but we're helping them to recycle, do a pledge for the kids, incorporate in the environmental best practices little by little, maybe plant trees, commit to other things that everybody can do something if you have the will to do it. So yeah, it's different industries, different sizes right now. We want to help as many companies here in Connecticut as we can to do business more responsible. I think there is kind of a misconception that this is something expensive or something that you cannot focus right now because we're still going through a pandemic, and we need to, as a smaller business, you need to survive and focus on, making money and continue to be profitable and the bottom line. What we say to our clients is that this is good for business. If you do this as core part of your business strategy, this will help you become more resilient, and this will help you increase your audience, and it will make you feel good at the same time.
And save the world.
And save the world.
And to save the world.
And be part of that. Be part of the solution instead of being part of the problem, because there's a lot of many companies that maybe they're doing great products on one side, and there's one product that they don't feel well about. They're like, I shouldn't be doing this. We can work on committing to changing this. We're working with one particular company. They're amazing product, but there's one that they're not very sure about. Maybe the supply chain is not, tracking is not perfect. So it's like, okay, it's a big part of the business. How can we change this? How can we commit to change this? So there's lots of things that we can do.
I might put you on the spot here, but you mentioned quick wins. I mean, I know every company's different, but are there some general quick wins that almost anybody can do that's a great place to start? I'm just sitting here thinking for people who are listening who are like, oh, I don't know, or I really want to do better, but it sounds so overwhelming. Do you have a couple of quick win strategies you'd like to share?
Yes. We put together a list of how to green your office, for example, that is for free in our website. That is www.thinkingbeyondbusiness.com. And you download it, and it's like 2 or 3 pages that gives all quick wins that you can implement right away in your office. There's small things that you can do from the environmental point of view. If you're not recycling, you can recycle. How much plastic are you using? Can you commit up maybe no plastic bottles in the office? And maybe have like HAYVN, that it has the water. And then HAYVN as well. She Felicia, she changed, she put the recycling bins so everybody can see it. She changed, no plastic plates, no plastic utensils. You are using mugs and cups. She's working now thinking about composting. So all the food that doesn't go, your policies of not printing certain amount of pages per day, printing on both sides. Be aware of your carbon emissions, your electricity use. Measure it. Start measuring that. Can you change your renewable or not? And so there's a lot of few things maybe you're already doing, or maybe that you can implement. That can be, and then there's a lot of quick wins that depend on each one of particular industry.
Right.
That you can implement right away with little resources. And that will generate a big impact and send a big message to your employees and to your customers. And you will be amazed when you start measuring what a big impact that means. Something so simple can have a very, very large impact in the long term.
I love that you've taken these baby steps that make it sound sort of approachable and doable. And my hope is, or assumption is, when you say, okay, that wasn't so hard, now what? I'm ready for bigger steps.
It's like we say with Silvina, we say it's like eating well. When you start with a diet, I don't like the word diet, but you start eating well, and then it's like, you start by little, and then you start feeling better, and you incorporate better habits, and then it builds on that. And it's the same thing with this.
Exactly. You've alluded to HAYVN several times, and I didn't appreciate that that's where you met your business partner. So, that obviously is a huge impact on your business. But in addition to meeting Silvina, how has the HAYVN community, impacted your business or you? Or I happen to know, I think you've actually had an impact on HAYVN, the HAYVN community with what you do. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about that, or have you share that.
HAYVN it has been great for us. First, because through HAYVN, so one of the HAYVN members, I met my partner. But then, Felicia is such a conscious leader, and she has this idea of building community and connecting people, wonderful women, amazing women with each other. And what we do is whenever we need, through our work, we need different areas. We need marketing, branding, maybe legal advice from Connecticut. So we always think of HAYVN first, because we already know the people. We love these women, and not only women, but there's men as well. But we have worked, with Keith with helping a client, one of his clients. We have worked with Alexis, that she's a lawyer. She's helping us in a legal aspect of some policies that we're putting together for building a sustainability strategy for a company. We work with Sue in all her, marketing and on giving a brand voice to a new employee handbook that we have built with a sustainability light. And she's given us all the branding and the marketing content of that. So I think together, we are all there together. We are I think one of the successes of our business is partnership and collaboration, because we have partnered with such amazing individuals and organizations, and we have achieved things that we could have never achieved if we have done it by our own. And I think partnering with mind-like individuals that we want the same thing, it gives us more power. And that is what is great about this industry, that is really a sense of collaboration within everybody that is involved. We all want the same thing, and we help each other to try to achieve it. So, and I met others, I met Heather for some goods. She joined. I'm a board member of an organization called Conscious Capitalism here in Connecticut. And we put together a group of companies that we call the Conscious Leaders Network, that are companies that are conscious businesses, that they're doing great already, but they want to learn from their peers, obstacles, challenges, and learn how to do business in a more conscious, more responsible way. So Heather has joined, that I met in HAYVN, has joined also forces with Conscious Capitalism, and the same with Felicia, that we're working on doing some things together. So it's all about collaboration and partnership, and it's an amazing group of people and women. And I think like Felicia, with a great leader that is Felicia. And like Felicia mentioned, it's like magic happened. It's like the HAYVN magic.
I feel like I get to talk about that on every single podcast, is the HAYVN magic, the HAYVN community, and the collaboration. And it actually, the way you've described it, it doesn't feel like give and take as much as it feels like, as you said, synergy and magic and connections. And they go not just in two directions back and forth, they kind of make magic. And sometimes, 2 + 2 = 3 or 4, right? And in terms of how people connect and what grows there. So I love hearing what your experience has been and how HAYVN has impacted and made your world a better place. If people are interested in learning more about thinking beyond business and or connecting with you, I certainly will put the quick win strategies for offices link in there. But tell us how best for people to connect and find you or connect with your business.
You can find me in LinkedIn. You can look by Soledad Matteozzi. I can send you the link for it. That's easy way to connect with me. By email as well, that is soledad@thinkingbeyondbusiness.com. That's easy as well. I'm always checking my emails, or through our website. You log in, send us an email through our website, and we'll be glad to connect. We always work, we always have initial conversations. We don't like to charge for initial conversations. So we like to meet, and if it works out, build on that. So don't be shy. Feel free to call us. We're here to help.
Fantastic. Soledad, thank you again for your time, for sharing your journey and experience, and giving us some insight about how we can all take baby steps, or maybe even bigger steps than we imagined, to be part of the solution.
No, thank you, Nancy. It was a pleasure meeting you, and thank you for having me here. Thank you.
And that's another episode of the HAYVN Hubcast. Thank you so much for listening, and hit subscribe if you haven't already.
Thanks for listening to the HAYVN Hubcast, a place to learn what business leaders and owners are doing to navigate and grow in today's market. Please leave a review on Apple Podcasts and subscribe on your favorite podcast app. HAYVN is a co-working space and virtual community located in the heart of Fairfield County, Connecticut. HAYVN is a hub for business owners and professionals to connect, create, and get stuff done. Find out more about the HAYVN community online at hayvn.com. That's HAYVN.com. HAYVN Hubcast is produced by Sound Advice Strategies.